My name is Darcie Bauman. My pronouns are she, her. I currently have a company called Mosaic Knowledge, and I volunteer for Twin Cities Pride and do some work with them. I have been with Twin Cities Pride since 2008 in various roles. I've been a volunteer, I have been a board member, and I've been board chair, the first female and the first person of color to chair Twin Cities Pride. Amazing. And currently I am the entertainment director. Mosaic Knowledge I do, and a lot of it came from the work I've done with Twin Cities Pride. I do DEI work with companies and just kind of help them specializing in LGBTQ issues. I don't know that I can really do a particular experience. It's more of a feeling. I really remember that whole feeling of I just didn't want to leave. Like, this was a place I was and I belonged. I'm from a small town in Minnesota. My graduating high school class was 56 kids, and to be here and to be seen and to be comfortable and not have to look over your shoulder and just be comfortable and just be at peace was just amazing. At the end of the weekend came and I just didn't want to leave. Yeah, the first Twin Cities Pride was it was a walk down Nicollet Mall, and there was just a handful of people. Gene Shredder was one of them, who was the historian for Twin Cities Pride. He was actually on the board as the historian when I was. From that, they went and they walked down Nicollet Mall and went into Loring Park, just a handful of people. And now it is huge. From that handful of people to, roughly around 500,000 people we see today. And not only is it our celebration in the Twin Cities Pride, now the difference that I see are all these little pop-up prides that are happening all over the state, in the rural areas where they're needed. Yeah, to be included is to be able to be somewhere and have your voice heard, and that space also be for you. So as we create spaces for people, make sure that those spaces are for everybody. And we really try to, listen to community and to make spaces for them. We have ASL interpreters, on the stages. We have the escape space now for folks with autism. We're now creating different programming, sensory-friendly programming for folks to do something as an alternative during the march. To me, I should say more brave spaces than safe spaces, because not every space is a safe space for all, as much as we try to do it. And I say brave space because we bring ourselves there. We bring ourselves to these spaces in hopes that people will see us and understand us. And we do that, and then we don't always get that in return. But we also plant seeds for folks to do that. And so for me, having a safe space is giving someone that opportunity to bring themselves. And if there is anything doesn't go perfectly, helping folks see each other and understand each other and respect each other in that space. Well, as we all know, the LGBTQ plus community has the most intersections of any other community out there, hands down. And for our people of color, myself, our BIPOC community, we're not always seen, we're not always heard, and especially in the way that Pride has come about. Pride wasn't built by us, and it wasn't built for us. And being someone who's come up in that and seeing folks around me and raising my voice to make that change. I know when I first came on the board, trying to think if I was even the only person of color at the time, and as we went through issues, I had a different view, so I didn't always just agree. And so then we started to talk about things and to create things that were more intentionally including folks and recognizing folks, respecting folks, and celebrating. There are a ton of folks in Minnesota to honor, and as we go forward, there's just more and more. Gene Shredder is one of them. He first introduced me to the history of what we have, and so the Shredder collection is an amazing collection, honoring our history, but it's not all of our history. It's his history, what he did and what he knew, and there's also now oral history that honors folks, especially our people of color and those other folks that we need to get that history and keep that history. So Gene is a great one to honor. Lisa Vicoli has worked really well at the Shredder Collection in helping raise lesbian voices, raise BIPOC voices. And we look at Andrea Jenkins, who has done some, amazing work, and also worked with the Treasure Collection and that oral history project, along with how everybody knows her today. So, one thing I'd like to share with folks, and you asked me about pride, and I was ready for the question of, what does pride mean to you? And my question back would have been, which pride are you talking about? Are we talking about Pride the movement? Are we talking about Pride the festival? Or are we talking about Pride the organization? And as we talk about Pride, helping people understand that Pride itself is a movement. There is a movement across the country. But then we also talk about Pride the organization. There are Pride organizers around the world that work to help these, some are only the festivals, some aren't any festivals. Some help the community. So as we talk about Pride, remember, there's a movement, there's an organization, and people tend to say this is what Pride is, so your Pride organizer should do this. And as a nonprofit, they don't always have the ability to do everything. But when we go to the festival portion of it, and they're trying to make a celebration for everybody. So, Pride is an awesome movement as a whole. There is so much going on in the world today, with the laws that are being passed around the country. We really need to celebrate here, and we need to make that loud, and we need to, continue that and remember others. And, I just say be loud, be there, be unapologetic, because we need that right now.